Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a tour of my small business studio. My name is Lex and I am a small business owner. I do have my own plant store and I run it right out of my home. It's been about a year since I've been in this space and I wanted to show you guys the updates that I've made to this room over the last year and also share some of my favorite business products and plant products with you guys. I officially started my plant store business in July 2022. I was selling plants before that in 2021, but I didn't make my business an official business until 2022. So it has been 2 years since I've actually been a registered business. When I first started my business, I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I definitely was nowhere near what I am today, but I feel that everybody starts somewhere and it definitely was possible for me to run my business out of my apartment. Here on my YouTube channel, I do share all the behind the scenes of me running my store from home. I have vlogs all the way back from my apartment in case you want to go see how it all started. In 2023, I did purchase this house, so it has been a full year. And when I was looking for a house, I knew that I needed an extra bedroom space for my business. I'm hoping in the future that I do have my own office or studio space, but for now I am running it out of home and I'm very comfortable with it. I'm going to put chapters in this video so that you can skip around if you want to. I am going to be talking about plants, but I'm also going to be talking about small business stuff as well. So in case you're not interested in one or the other, you can go ahead and skip around. So let's go ahead and jump into the tour. So here's an overview of the room. The door to the room is back behind the camera. So this is kind of what you see when you first walk in. This room is the master bedroom of the house. And I will say that this is a very large bedroom compared to a lot of regular master bedrooms, at least what I've seen when I was touring houses. So I'm really happy that I was able to get such a large room, but I do feel like this space is big enough for everything that I need. I do keep my personal plants in here. I keep the shop plants in here, and I do keep my workspace here with my computer and all my printers so that I can fulfill orders in here as well. So this room has a lot of different purposes. So when you first walk in the room, the first thing you see on the right side is one of my Ikea greenhouse cabinets. This one down here, this is a Rudsta wide. I've had all my cabinets for about 2 years now and I do really like them. However, the Rudsta is not one of my favorite cabinets. I have a really hard time kind of decorating it with my own plants. Something I recently did was I took everything that I had in my personal collection out of here and I decided to create this into an anthurium cabinet for the shop. I do have quite a few anthuriums that I keep on the shop. I just feel like they're going to do a little bit better in high humidity, so I recently converted it into an anthurium only cabinet. So then on top of it, I do have a piece of wood right on top. I just have it covered in contact paper to make it look nicer, but I do have an Exo on top. This is an Exo by ReptiZoo, and right now this is holding all of my personal alocasias, and I think that it works really great for my alocasias right now. I really like it for that. I previously had anthuriums in here, but my anthuriums have gotten a little bit too big for the enclosure. So right now I feel that the alocasias do really well in there and they look good. Before I jump into some of the products that I use in this room, I will have my Amazon storefront linked below so that you can shop all the things that I like to use for my plants and for my small business. So like I said, this Exo is by ReptiZoo. I will say that this is very expensive and I think that there are alternate things than this. Honestly, getting an Ikea cabinet is cheaper than getting this, so I don't think I would personally get another one. There are a few things in here that I don't really like as well, but I feel like you get what you pay for. The ReptiZoo one is a little bit cheaper than the Exo, so that probably makes sense why there's some things I just don't like about it. So the Exo is all glass and the top of it is mesh, and it does still hold humidity pretty well even though the top is mesh. If you wanted to, you can probably put a piece of plexiglass or something on the top to keep the humidity higher, but so far the alocasias are doing okay in here. So it opens from the front, and that's something that I really like about it. It has these two little doors here and you just open them like this, and it does have a latch here that twists so you can lock it, and it does have its own key. So it is a little bit messy because I did just water the plants yesterday, so if you see like water stains, that's why. But I just have a mixture of all my like rare alocasias in here. I'm not going to do a full plant tour in this video. We might do a plant tour in a later video. It's just going to take a little bit too much time to go through every single plant in this room, but this is a mixture of all types of variegated alocasia that I keep in here. So as for products in the EXO, I do have the Barina lights. I have Barina lights throughout this whole room. Those are the only grow lights that I like to use in here. They work really well for the plants. These ones are a little different than the ones that I normally use because these ones are actually magnetic and the mesh is metal, so they kind of just stick right on. I think the magnetic lights are a little bit newer to Barina, so these ones are a little different than the other ones that I have. The wires are kind of crazy. I don't really care when it comes to like the wires and trying to hide them. It is what it is. But yeah, this is what it looks like, and it just sits on top of my Rudsta. So on the bottom is the actual Rudsta itself, and like I said, this has been converted into an anthurium only cabinet. These plants are all for sale. These do not include any of my plants. This is probably the most amount of anthuriums that I usually have on the shop, so it's not that many. I kind of just have them shoved in here because it's a little hard for me with the Rudsta. The Rudsta just doesn't seem like it's big enough for me. The main thing I don't like about the Rudsta is where the glass actually sits. I wish that you could have more options than either here and here. I wish that you can have like an in-between like the Milsbo, but because of that, I have such a hard time fitting some of the stuff in here. So right now I just have some of the shorter anthuriums up here, but I already know that this is not gonna last too long. I keep a lot of the plants in these clear trays. These are from Target. You can find them in the container section. They work great as plant saucers for like a ton of plants like this. I have a little bit of leca in here. I'm just lazy and haven't filled this one and this one yet. The reason I do leca on the bottom of some of the trays like this is so that when I water all the plants, the leca will actually soak up the water and the plants themselves aren't just sitting in water. It makes it just a little easier for me. So that is what I have going on in here. I also do have Barina lights in here as well. There are 2 at the top and then 1 in the middle here. And then I do have 2 fans in here. I have 2 of the AC Infinity fans, 1 on this corner and 1 on that corner. I will have everything linked so that you can easily shop everything as well, but that's how I have it set up. All the plant lights in here are connected to timers. So my timers turn on at 8 a.m. and they turn off at 10 p.m. That might be a little bit long for you, but that's just how I've always had them. I've had them like that for years. You can buy these smart plugs right here. These are by Casa. I got them on Amazon. They do come in like a 4-pack, so you get a lot of them. But all you have to do is just plug this in. You have to set it up in the app on your phone. And then once you have it all set up, you just plug in your light, and then you can set schedules for how you want the plugs to turn on and turn off and stuff like that. So that's how I have everything in here. It's completely like automated. I don't come in here and flick the lights on or anything. Everything just comes on at 8 a.m. and turns off at 10 p.m. Next to the Rudsta and the alocasia enclosure, I do have a closet here. This is my plant supplies and shipping supply closet. Anything that I need for the business that I need to like store away, I keep in this closet. Fun fact, when we bought this house, none of the closets had doors on them at all. So that was super weird to us, but now living in here and not having the doors on them, it actually isn't that bad. We do have 3 bedrooms in this house and we actually only use one of the closets for clothes, so it doesn't really matter that there's no doors on them. I did end up putting a curtain rod and some white curtains on this closet though, just to make it look a little bit more clean because it is kind of crazy in here sometimes. So when you open the closet, this is what it looks like. I wouldn't say it's a full walk-in closet. I would say like maybe a half walk-in closet, but it definitely is big and it has a lot of space. This closet does have its own light in here, which is really convenient because this room actually kind of gets a little bit dark, surprisingly. I usually don't get sun in this room until really late afternoon. The windows are over here. It's usually around like 4 o'clock when this room gets light, so it's nice that this closet does have a light in it. The closet was pretty much built when I bought the house. It already had these shelves in there and they're super sturdy, so it works great for all the stuff that I need in here because I have a lot of heavy stuff. There's nothing too special in this closet. I just keep all of my plant supplies in here and I keep my shipping supplies in here as well. I do keep some other random things in here too, kind of just things that I don't have a home for, but I do try to keep it as organized as I can. At the top, I do keep a lot of plant pots that I use for my personal plants, so they are just like plant pots that have been used that I like to reuse so that I don't have to keep grabbing brand new plant pots off of my shop shelves. I do have some glass vases boxes up there as well, some saucers, and some other like acrylic accessories. I have all my substrates in here as well. So I have like my stratum, perlite, charcoal, and stuff like that. And I do have everything labeled for convenience. So as you can see, I just keep everything in these containers. I have a mixture of containers. I usually find them at like Target and Walmart. I also do use boxes that I get from buying things online to like store stuff as well, and I just label them too. I am an online plant store, so I do ship orders across the United States. So I need a ton of boxes, a ton of supplies all the time. Shipping plants can be a little bit complicated because you need so many different box sizes and so much materials to make sure that the plants arrive to the customer safely. So I do have a ton of boxes at the top here. I do have this mess right here. These are just cardboard wraps that I use to wrap the plant in. If you've seen my vlogs on my channel, you guys have seen me pack orders and how I do the process and stuff. At the bottom here, I do have some polyfill. This is an open bag. The brand is called Polyfill. This is just like cotton or fiberfill that you can stuff like pillows and teddy bears with. I actually use that to wrap the plants to protect the leaves. And then in the corner down here, I have so many more boxes. Sometimes I can use really small boxes and sometimes I can use very large boxes depending on the plant. It is a little difficult sometimes being a plant store that ships because you need such big boxes sometimes. It's not that easy storing these type of boxes. You're not always selling little stuff and you need to make sure that you have the specific box size for the plant. And then on the right side, I have more boxes and shipping supplies. So on this side, I keep all of my USPS boxes. And then on the other side, I keep the brown boxes. Those are the boxes that I actually pay for. So if you didn't know already, you can get free USPS boxes from their website. So I usually always stock up on these. They have decent sized boxes from like small to medium. This is a great option for you if you're just starting off to sell things and boxes are a little bit out of your budget. Definitely check out USPS, and I think UPS does it as well. So obviously I do stock up on these a lot. I also do have like padded envelopes and stuff like that too. And then in this corner, I know it looks a little bit messy, but I just keep these bins here. These all have more substrate things in them. There's like perlite, I have some pre-mixed potting mix, I have cocoa husk, and then I have more perlite down here and more polyfill. These things right here, these are some extra lights that I use for filming. So next to the closet, I do have this little corner here. I have this beautiful picture here drawn by one of my friends. I'll put her Etsy store in the description below. I have a few art pieces by her, and I did get the frame from Amazon as well. So underneath of the picture frame, I do have this little shelf here. I recently moved a lot of things around, but this shelf is meant for like printers and things like that. And then on the bottom, I do have both of my thermal printers that I use for my packing labels and making stickers and stuff like that for my store. And I have my regular HP printer down there because sometimes I have to print receipts and stuff like that, and I just need a regular printer for the business as well. I also do have these little clear containers here. I got them on Amazon. I just keep some stickers and my Bluetooth label maker in there. I use those stickers for my shop. I give those out as freebies. So I just have them over there so that I can easily grab them, and I have some business cards as well. So my favorite part of the room is actually my computer and workspace area. I do have my neon sign up here. It says PlantLifeLex. It is my business name. So I just have that up there. I got that from an Etsy store. I will link the Etsy store in the description as well. I have some more art pieces here by my friend, and I do have these cute acrylic shelves that I got from Amazon, and I have these really cute plant plushies up there. They are from another small business. I'll have them linked as well. And I just have an extra keyboard that I like to swap between. So obviously the main focus of this section is the PC and the monitor. The PC and monitor are quite new. I've had them for about a week now. The PC is actually the exact same one that I have in my game room that I like to game on. So I did go ahead and get a second one just for this room. I do prefer to keep my personal computer separate than my work computer because they are meant for two different things. I do a lot of obviously video editing and photo editing in this computer, and I also have like a lot of business stuff that I do on this computer, and that's why I have this large monitor. I tend to multitask a lot, so it works great for me. It might be too big for some people, but I absolutely love it. So as for the desk, the tabletop of the desk is separate from the frame. The tabletop is a tabletop I found in Ikea. I can't remember the name, but it was very cheap and it feels very cheap. I believe it was like probably 30 bucks. I found it really randomly, but it works great for what I need it to because it's very large. The frame is its own separate thing that I got off Amazon. It is an electric frame. I recently converted this into an electric rising desk so that I can stand and sit when I'm doing work. And then on the sides, the two white drawer sets, they are from Amazon as well. This shelf is from Ikea, but it has some modifications done by my boyfriend. So he did end up installing wheels on the bottom so that I can easily just pull this out whenever I need to. I do pull it out sometimes, but not very often, but the wheels are nice to have. There is also a curtain rod installed on this that has some packing paper here. I like to use this craft paper to stuff the boxes sometimes, so it's nice having it on a roll like this. And then in the inside, I just keep things for shipping, like all of my postal scales. I keep heat packs for when it's the winter time, other paper products, and my tape and stuff like that. So on the top of it, I just keep some paper towels because I'm always cleaning in here. So I do have some cleaning products in here as well. I do tend to keep cleaning products in here. I have my own broom, I have my own mop. This room actually gets very, very dirty very quickly, especially after a plant shipment day or a big shipping day. So I like to always have stuff on hand, so that's why that they're here. I have this organizer with miscellaneous stuff. I keep like tape here, box cutters, my thank you card, and I have a tape measure here handy because sometimes I use boxes that don't have the dimensions labeled on it, so I have to measure them out. I have this little shelf organizer here. I got this from Amazon, as well as all these little acrylic accessories. But on top here, I do have this little thing with stickers in it. I have all types of stickers that I use for my packages, so I just keep them on here. These are all stickers for products that I sell. I do sell plant potting mixes and stuff like that, and I do have their own custom sticker for it, so I just have them labeled. It's not the prettiest, but it works great for me. And underneath of it, I just have these little bags like these. These are all the bags that I use for all the potting mixes that I sell. So I'll just grab a bag like this, and then I'll pick out the sticker and stick it on it. And on the side here, I did label them by the size so that I know exactly which one it is, and if I need to restock it, it's easy for me. So right next to this is obviously my desk and the little drawer, but on here, I recently moved my pink princess. I put her here and I put her in this cute little pot, and I also have this cute little sign that I got from Amazon. And this back here, this is my microphone for voiceovers when I do my YouTube editing. I do have 3 backdrops. These are backdrops that I use to take all of my pictures. These are very large. I will insert some clips of me using these. I got these custom made from a vendor on Alibaba, and they made them for me. So I have different colors, like I have white marble and I have like concrete and stuff. So I just keep them standing up here because they are just really large. There's nowhere to put them, and it's easy access for me when it's time to take pictures. So now we're going to move into the back half of the room. This is going to be more plant focused and plant product focused. So just as an overview, this is what it looks like. This section of the room is dedicated to my actual shop. The 3 black shelves in the back here, these are all plants that I have for sale. Since I am an online plant store, I do source my plants in wholesale. I do all types of unboxing plants and stuff like that. If you are curious about it, I will have some of my plant shop vlogs linked for you. I don't like to mix plants for sale and my personal plants, so you guys will see my personal plants after these ones. It just makes things easier for me so that I don't get confused and stuff like that. I recently did a very large restock, so that's why these 3 shelves are very full right now, kind of too full, but we have sold a lot of them already, and they are going to be getting shipped out this week, so it's not going to look like this for much longer. So in the middle here, I have an exact replica of the work desk that I have and an electric rising frame on the bottom. This table is specifically used for when I'm filming videos and I need to do things like on the table, and for packing orders. So I do usually stand when I'm packing orders. It's a little bit too hard to try to pack when sitting down just because of how complex packing plants can be. My computer desk is on wheels, but this one is not. I actually just have felt pads underneath so that I can just easily move this table around whenever I want to. So it makes it a little bit easier for me when I'm filming and trying to do stuff. I can just easily move it around. So moving the table around is really important because I usually am doing a lot in here and sometimes it does get in the way. So this corner does have 2 more black wired shelves. All the black wire shelves are from Amazon. They do all come with 5 shelves, but you can customize them however you want. So that's why they are all kind of different. So in addition to plants that I sell from my store, I do sell clear plant pots. I only sell clear plant pots because that is just what I like. I've been using clear plant pots for a long time. It's kind of like my little brand thing that I like to use, but I sell clear plant pots ranging from sizes 2.5 inches all the way up to 9.5 inches. So at the very top, you can see the plant pots, and then I have a whole shelf on the side dedicated to more plant pots. I have them all organized by size. On the shelf on the right, this is a mixture of other plant accessories that I sell. I do have trellises, moss poles, seedling trays, an acrylic case cases that you can display your plants in. So I do keep a lot of my inventory on hand. If I have extra inventory, I will store it in boxes in my garage until I need it. But I like to keep everything on hand because I do ship orders out pretty much every single day. So in all of these little felt containers, I do have trellises in them. I do sell all types of clear acrylic trellises, so I just have them in here and I sort them by style and size. I do have the little bins labeled as well because of course I like to stay organized. The reason I use these little fabric boxes is just because I had them extra left over from something, and I don't really care how it looks because it's just to store products. And then on these two shelves here, I just have some of the display cases here. The product is flat when it's shipped, but you have to assemble it when you get it. This is an example of what it looks like. It opens from the front like this, and you can put in your plants. I do only keep a little bit of these in here at a time just because they do take up a lot of space. So I just keep about like 50 in here, and then I keep the rest in the garage. So then at the bottom shelf, I have more trellises down here. This box here, this is all moss poles. So I have them all organized by size and color. Here is an example of what one looks like. They come flat, you just have to assemble it. And then at the very bottom, I do have my seedling trays. I have them in a really big box because I have a lot of them, and I have it set up in a way that I can just grab each piece and assemble it as I go. Another thing I keep in this corner is my plant cart. I think I got this cart from either Ikea or Amazon, but it is super messy right now, so just ignore it. But I highly recommend if you have plants to get a plant cart. I have like my fertilizers in here, pest control, water bottles, cloths, everything that I use to do plant stuff with. And this giant bucket here, this is a bucket full of water because I actually use this bucket to water my plants. And I use this pump here. You just put the pump inside of the bucket, and attached to the pump is this little nozzle here where you can just easily spray and water all your plants. So I just keep that attached here. And then when I water my plants, I can just drag this around the room. So now moving into the actual plant shelves. Like I did mention, these shelves are from Amazon and they do come with 5 shelves. I just have them configured a certain way that works for me. The lighting on the shelves is all Barina lights. They are 10 watt each, and you can safely connect 4 Barinas together with the little wire that goes in between them. These lights are all on timers like I mentioned earlier in the video as well. So since these are just plants for sale, there isn't really much organization here besides the fact that I try to keep certain plants together by type. So for instance, on the left, I try to keep a lot of the Hoyas, and then on the right, I keep the big plants, and then in the bottom middle, I keep like alocasias and stuff like that. So on the shelves, I do keep all the plants in the clear trays. They are dirty because I do water the plants in the trays, but like I said, these trays are from Target. They work really nice and they look good too, and it allows you to store multiple plants in one tray so that you're not using individual saucers for each plant. So it works really well for me when I'm storing all the plants because obviously I have a ton of plants in here. It is very, very full right now just because of the fact that I just did a restock a few days ago. I did sell a lot of them already, and I'm going to be packing a lot of them up tomorrow, so it's not going to be as crammed, and that's why I wanted to film this video so you guys could see all the plants in one place. At the bottom of the shelves on the left, I keep some extra bins down there. I actually use those clear bins when I am doing repots and stuff because it just makes life a little bit easier for me, and I also use the bins when I am unboxing plants. I just store them in the bin and water them and put them on the shelves when I'm done. This shelf is kind of a miscellaneous shelf. A lot of the plants on here are not for sale. This is kind of my plants in progress shelf. I do keep some display cases at the top here with some little seedlings right now. And then I also keep a lot of propagations and rehabs on the shelf here to keep them separate from the actual plants on the shop over here. If you are a small plant store and you do a lot of propagation for your shop, I highly recommend that you try to keep like your props separate or like your seedlings separate and stuff like that. The best way to store them is in clear bins and keep them under a grow light. I have a ton of these big bins here. This bin is really messy, but there's a ton of rehab plants in here. They're not even for sale, so it doesn't matter. And then at the bottom here, I have a little fan that I use sometimes after I water all the plants. I will usually always turn the ceiling fan on in this room, but I will also turn this little fan on and point it at some of the plants to help them dry out faster. I keep a bin on the floor here. This bin is all propagations. So at the moment, these are the propagations that I have. Not too many. I haven't really been propagating a lot lately for this store. Keeping them in the clear bins help with the humidity and it helps them grow faster. So definitely recommend that you put your props and your seedlings in clear bins. And since this bin is too large, it doesn't fit on the shelf, so I just stick it on the floor. It doesn't get that much light, but it gets a decent amount of light from the lights on the shelf, so it does fine on the floor. It's not that big of a deal. And then if you see in the corner here, I have a little gap here. All that in the corner is actually just extra pieces of the display case, because sometimes in shipping, the mail carrier, they disregard the fragile signs and they end up being cracked sometimes. So I just keep all the extra good pieces over there in case I need to send out somebody a replacement piece for like a broken one or something like that. Next to the rehab shelf over there, I have a shelf here, my Milsbo tall, and another shelf here. Everything that is shown here, these are all of my personal plants. Like I said earlier, I don't keep personal plants and shop plants together. I also prefer to keep my personal plants separate for when I'm filming so that I can always have a decent backdrop, because the shop shelves kind of go in and out, so it's not really like a consistent look versus this is always pretty consistent. So over the last few years of collecting plants, I've went from having 200 plus plants to having 50 plants to having 100 plants, and right now I probably have like maybe 75, 100, maybe not even 100. I really don't personally have that many plants anymore, and that's just because it does get a little overwhelming trying to take care of the shop plants and my plants. Having everything in one place in this room makes things a lot easier for me. So I've talked about this before, but I actually don't have plants really anywhere in my entire house besides this room. I do have about 6 or 7 plants in my living room because they are all big plants, but there are no other plants throughout my house. It is just much easier for me to have everything contained in one place. I also don't like the look of having plants all throughout the house. I'm sorry, I just don't like it, and it just becomes stressful for me. So only a little bit in the living room is okay with me. I like having everything in this room because I keep everything actually on a schedule of how I do things. Everything in here gets watered at the same time, like besides the cabinets usually, but everything dries out around the same time, so I can water them all on the same day, and it just makes my life so much easier versus trying to figure out who needs water and who doesn't. And also I do have cats, and one of the cats, she does sometimes mess with stuff, so it's nice to be able to shut the door in here. The one, she just tends to like dig out the soil and like that's it. So I really don't have that many plants right now, and it's honestly better for me that way, and I like it. It's not a competition of who has the most plants. Like, I really don't care. Just because you have 30 plants does not make you any different than somebody who has 500 plants. Everybody has their own collection and the way that they do things, and this is the way that I like to do it. I do keep these also on the black shelves as well. I think at some point I would like to swap these two in particular to like nicer looking shelves, maybe like wood shelves or something. The reason I do like the wire shelves is really just because they like are see-through, so if I don't have a light on each level, some light will still shine through. And also it's just nice to be able to convert it to however you want. So as the plants get bigger, you can make it bigger, because that is something that I kind of have been dealing with. Is I have a lot of bigger plants now and they just don't fit anywhere, so that's why a lot of them have moved downstairs. So this first shelf here, it has a mixture of different things. Like I said, I'm not going to get into all of the plants, but I do have this little black greenhouse right in the middle at the top. That is from Ikea, and I do have some display cases on the middle shelf, and I have another one on the bottom and some anthuriums down there. I don't really like the shelves too packed, so that's why there's really nothing on here. So then in the middle here, I do have my Milsbo tall cabinet. I will say I absolutely love the Milsbo. It's one of my favorite cabinets ever. I've had all my cabinets pretty much like 2 years now, and I will say that the Milsbo is my favorite. I know some of you guys are ride or die Rudsta fans, but I don't know. I just have such a hard time with that cabinet. I also don't want to sell it, so that's why I still have it. I've owned a lot of cabinets. I've owned this Milsbo tall, 2 Rudstas, and I've also owned a double Detolf cabinet, which is 2 Detolfs combined together. I did sell my Detolf a few months ago, earlier in the year, because it was just taking up too much space and I just had nothing to put in it at this point, so I did sell it. Inside the cabinet is the same deal as the Rudsta. There are Barina lights in there. There's 2 on the top, 2 in the bottom, and then 2 AC Affinity fans. And then another thing I feel like I'm gonna get questions about is how do I weather strip the cabinets? I honestly just use black electrical tape, and I just taped up all the gaps. I've had it like that for 2 years. I've never removed it. I remember when I first got the cabinets, I tried to do the actual weather weather strip like the foam thing, and it just kept peeling off. So if you have a black cabinet, definitely look into the black electrical tape because it seems to work the best. I used to track humidity and temperature in the cabinets, but now I don't because I don't really care. But I will say they are very hot right now, and they are definitely humid because it is summertime. This room gets the absolute hottest in the house, and it also gets the coldest in the winter time. Even though I've been here a whole year now and I experienced the winter, all the plants in here were fine. And that's why I keep a lot of the plants in just ambient conditions outside of the cabinet, because when I'm selling the plants, I want to make sure that in case you don't have a cabinet, you can still be able to purchase the plants and not experience any shock from the plants and stuff like that. If you're wondering where the acrylic little shelves are that you see in there and the pegboard, all the acrylic accessories for the cabinets that I use are from Modern Aqua. I don't use actual acrylic shelving like the full ones. I actually only use the stock shelves that are glass. The Milsbo does have a key and lock system in it as well. I think because originally this cabinet is not for plants, obviously it's for like storing collectibles or whatever. So you can use this for a million different things, but I don't lock mine because I don't think anybody's gonna steal my plants. But I just have this cute Monstera keychain on the keys so that I don't ever lose it. But I got this keychain from Amazon. So my last shelf is this one here. It is just 2 shelves only. On the top, I do keep some of my bigger anthuriums. As you can see, this one is quite big now, so it just doesn't fit anywhere. So I just keep them up here. I have a mixture of anthuriums, but I have sold a lot of them. So I just keep them up here, and I keep them in the leca trays as well. The reason I don't keep all plants in the leca trays is because some of them just don't need it. However, I do it for these anthuriums in particular because these are all quite big pots, so it requires a lot of water, and the leca just soaks up all the water. It just makes it so much easier, and I don't have to worry about like dumping it later and stuff. It's just easier this way. This little white box here, these are just all the wires for everything that's going on in here. I just have them in this little protector so that they don't get wet or anything like that. And then underneath of that shelf on the bottom, I just have some plants that I keep on planks. Honestly, they are very pathetic, so don't laugh at me, but I kind of have been neglecting them a lot. But I just have a couple here. I have moved some of them out of here in 2 different places. The thing about these is that I always forget about them, so I forget to water them sometimes, and I also don't keep up with taping their roots down to the plank. So as you can see, they are getting a little leggy and stuff, but that's okay because I can just, you know, work on this later or something. But yeah, I just have these down here because they are just so tall. This is the only solution for them. So that concludes my official plant room or plant studio tour. The reason I call it a studio is because it is technically a small business studio space. Even though it is in my house, it is a studio to me because I do work in here. So that's why I call it that. And as you guys saw, there is a ton of different purposes for this room. So after a year of moving my business into this space, I have seen a lot of growth in my business. And that is because I have so much more space, which means I can bring in so much more plants and products and stuff like that. And even though I did really well in my apartment, my business was limited to my space. Ever since I moved up into a bigger space, I feel like my business kind of took off, and I'm just so grateful that all of you guys have supported me this long. A lot of you guys have been with me since day one when I was just selling plants on my Instagram story and on Facebook. So even though it's only really been about 3 years of me selling plants, I have come a long way, and the timeline is just crazy from looking back then and to now. So thank you guys all so much for supporting me and my business over the last couple of years. I seriously couldn't do it without you guys, and I sincerely appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed the tour, and I will see you guys in my next plant chat vlog.